Wisp. What is a wisp? I don't know about you, but whenever I think about these things, it always reminds me of a companion, almost like a pet. That being said, Deepwoken has quite a few of these things, and it seems like an upcoming trend for each attunement. Let's take a look at the current state of Deepwoken's wisps and discuss future content regarding these mantras. What's up guys, it's Punchy, and if you're like me, you definitely like games with personality. Small additions such as charisma dialogue and random artifacts such as the legendary boot give Deepwoken personality, and we've all become accustomed to this. Something else that is really interesting when it comes to the style of Deepwoken are the fantastical elements that we just seem to accept. Every player basically can wield attunements, and in lore it just works, like Frostdraw freezes and Flame Charm burns, but when we take it to the next level, that's like making wisps. These support mantras embody your chosen attunement and give us buffs accordingly, and they have some personality. It kind of reminds me how ghosts from Destiny float around and assist the player in different ways. And let's get into it. Flame Charm, the attunement focused around heat, burning, and all things explosion, and despite what you might think, Flame Charm's Wisp companion does none of that, and actually it does the opposite. Following the player and moving erratically, it's known for healing, and sometimes it even lights plays campfires. Its passive restoring capability is probably the best in the entire game. Moving on to the Gale Wisp, representing the Gale Breath attunement. In appearance, Gale Wisp is much more simple with a basic central orb with spinning wind particles that shroud the outside of this orb. In gameplay, Gale Wisp has two different purposes. So first off, taking fall damage is reduced while this Wisp is active, and I won't lie, that's kind of underwhelming. And secondly, the better feature of this Gale Wisp is the buff to Haunted Gale. With Haunted Gale, every 3 hits landed by a perfectly casted Gale mantra results in an automatic secondary hit, which can be parried, but it is extra damage. Gale Wisp simply reduces the hits required from 3 to 2, which can be pretty decent. The latest Wisp that we got is Frost Wisp, which came out last update, and this represents Frostdraw. Appearance-wise, this is pretty cool, no pun intended, and it kind of looks like a snowflake with some ice orb in the middle. On Frostdraw builds, this one is very redundant and much of the same. This Frostdraw companion places ice on the ground in bursts, and on Flourish, it places ice on the floor, doing minor damage, and it doesn't really hit. I'll be honest, this support mantra is pretty basic and boring, but compared to Flame Wisp, that basically also has one feature, and yeah, so does ice. Now it's time for the fun part, so let's talk about wisps for other attunements that don't have them and speculate how they work. Starting off with an overall change or addition to all attunement wisps, I would love to see each of them have different dialogue. In game, it really does feel like a sort of companion with its very own life, and it could be interesting if they talked or said jokes or said something very similar to the Grand Sudaruska, which also has dialogue, and that's unique. Let's think about a wisp for Shadowcast. The basic idea for this type of mantra could be met with 2 different approaches. One idea I could see in game is the increased ether or tempo steal with perfectly casted shadow mantras, and this is similar to the Gale Wisp. I mean, it's fairly basic, but I think that's a better idea than passively regenerating tempo or ether, but yeah, I don't know how they could do this. Another interesting Wisp idea for the Thundercall Wisp could be the application of storm tethers automatically. So Thunder is pretty limited with its usage, either stunning players with the electricity or placing storm tethers to improve mantras, but this is all I can think of that could be fairly balanced. For the sake of conversation, I don't think Ironsing necessarily needs a Wisp, since it's not one of the original attunements that was added in the game, but let's see what's possible. As it stands right now, Ironsing really does like 2 things. It places rods and it pulls people towards you, and I don't really want Iron Wisp to passively place rods or pull people towards the user, because that could be OP and kind of not fun. But something it could do is restore some armor, similar to the Metal Enchant mixed in with the Flame Wisp, so it would restore armor in bursts. This could be something cool, and these are my current thoughts on possible future attunement wisps. Share your opinions down below on what each attunement needs for these support mantras, and if we want more wisps. Thanks again, and make sure to like and subscribe. It's punchin' time.